Yo, what's up, Chess.com YouTube fans? This is International Master Daniel Rensch, Ace Chess, back today with another serving of some hot-off-the-press chess news here on our YouTube channel. Today we got a few exciting topics for you. This is an installment that we like to do every few weeks to perhaps, for those of you who aren't aware of some of the hottest things, sometimes not so hot things going on in the chess world, this is our chance to keep you informed and to hear your feedback on some of the interesting things going on in the chess world. Sometimes we just gossip. We're just gossip girls. We're just sitting around the table, just going to have some coffee, and we're just going to gossip about the chess world. But today seriously, I've got some news for you guys, some big stuff, right? So we're going to start with one of the things that happened that was pretty exciting over the last couple of weeks, which was the London Chess Classic. Here we see that the winner was Vlady. He was back in a big way, winning the first prize and being presented the trophy by one Garry Kasparov, former world champion. Not sure exactly what Kasparov has to do with the London Chess Classic group, but he's Kasparov. He goes where he wants and takes what he wants, right, Honey Badger? So there's Kasparov giving Kramnik the prize. We see that the great American hope, Hikaru Nakamura, finished in clear second place, which was a pretty good showing and pretty exciting to see. And kind of ironic because it leads us into our next topic, where one of the big announcements that was made over the last week was that the marriage between Garry Kasparov and Hikaru Nakamura, which had been official for about, 2 days, is now over, and so there's a broken home for you. So the question is, will Hikaru be back in an exciting way, or is he going to be back in depressing fashion? I don't know. I think that Kasparov contributed something to his game, but maybe they just weren't seeing eye to eye. Maybe when titans clash, right, as they say, when egos clash, maybe they just can't find a way to compromise, or maybe they just didn't like each other very much, or maybe they had a great ride and they were just done with each other. I don't know. Like I said, I'm gossiping here. I don't know. Having a little fun. Go with me. So, one of the next things that happened is a big deal because it's kind of some sad news in the chess world, something that we've known about for a while and something that we've discussed on Chess.com TV in our Pardon Our Blunder show. My partner, International Master David Proust, and I. Sorry about the tongue tie there. There it is again. But you can always check out some of these hot topics, and surely the ones we're discussing here will probably be discussed again on our Chess.com TV show. But one of the things we discussed a few months ago that was now brought back into light because the French Chess Federation confirmed it, and I guess by their standards completed the investigation. But in any case, they found Sebastian Feller and the other parties involved guilty of cheating and have instituted a ban. It didn't really say too much in the article you see I've linked here how long the ban was for. At least I couldn't find it, but it was something that had been given full support by three of the country of France, three of their top grandmasters. We can see Roman Edouard and Laurent Fressinet, and as well as Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who's obviously one of the most well-known French grandmasters these days. So it was given their full support for the investigation. Those GMs were fully supportive of the French Chess Federation to do what they needed to do. So before I get to the last part of today's chess dish, the chess news we're bringing you, where I want to show you perhaps the most critical win in Vladimir Kramnik's rise to the top at the London Chess Classic, I have a question for all of you. Are we doing enough to really impose stricter penalties on people that do cheat over the board to discourage it? Obviously, it's a black eye for the game, black eye for the French Chess Federation, and certainly a potential black eye for life for the young Sebastian Feller, and hopefully he can find his way back on track and continue competing at a high level. I mean, for him, I don't want to wish anybody ill will, but obviously it was a pretty bad thing that they all did, and it seems that it was pretty confirmed. So I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts, whether or not you feel like we're doing enough to impose penalties on over-the-board cheating, especially in top-level tournaments like the Olympiad that took place when Sebastian Feller and those parties involved were caught for cheating. So anyway, interesting topic. I'd like to hear what people think here on YouTube. And again, sign up on Chess.com. We'll see you there, and we'll have a ton of fun. So before we end this chess news, I want to show everybody what was probably the critical game in Vladimir Kramnik's rise to the top, which was his win as black over Luke McShane, who at the time was amongst the leaders of the tournament. And this win pretty much solidified the victory, as Kramnik was able to hold a draw in the last round and take home the bacon, as they say. So let's take a look at how Vlady got it done, shall we? Here we see this game now. Vladimir Kramnik was playing the black pieces. We'll take a look at it from the white side, but Vlady was black, started out with a Berlin defense, his favorite weapon against one Garry Kasparov in the World Championship match in 2000. But here, McShane does not play the main line, which is to castle here. So, in any case, he played d3, and after bishop c5, we developed into a Ruy Lopez. Not going to talk too much about the opening, except that this is a pretty solid approach from black's perspective. The double pawns not being that big of a weakness as they control critical center squares, and black is prepared to give back the bishop pair at some point here on f3 and to hold a good solid position. This knight will find himself relocating to this square on e6. And as the game continued, we see exactly that happen, with black eventually getting castled. And already I think that black is pretty solid in this position. I don't know that he's already equalized, but I for one, feel like black is doing well here. I don't see that the fianchettoed bishop does much against this setup here, and I would already prefer black's position here with access into the dark squares with the knight and bishop, and I don't think white's attack is going to mount with much. Though this h-pawn looks scary, I don't think it's going to become much. And as the game developed, we see that Kramnik gave up the bishop for the knight because he felt that he could keep the position closed, and in a closed position, knights will do well against the bishops. After he completed this mission of closing it up, Luke McShane took kind of a drastic approach here, maybe already feeling that he was worse with the h-pawn being overextended, realizing his attack was amounting to nothing, lashed out with this idea of g3 and f4, fully prepared to sacrifice the exchange on f4 and hopefully develop an attack against Vladimir's king, but that didn't amount to anything, as Kramnik defended extremely well and soon turned the king side against white and started attacking his king. And we see that Luke McShane didn't really want the ending, already being down in exchange and probably going to be worse there, but instead now Kramnik chooses to keep the pieces on the board. Game develops, Luke McShane has no choice but to head for the endgame, and pretty soon here we see the rooks outplaying the rook and bishop, and eventually material begins to fall. This passed f-pawn is pretty strong here for Kramnik. White's one last trump card is to open up the dark squares and to try to develop more pressure against the king and perhaps get these pawns rolling, but unfortunately that idea was not enough against well-timed defense by Vladimir Kramnik, and eventually we see the bishop having to give himself up for this pawn here in order to avoid a promotion. And this rest was tricky and lots of smoke, but turns out it was just smoke and mirrors for Mr. McShane, and eventually all the pawns begin to fall, and the rooks take it home with not too much trouble here, eventually getting going, and the a-pawn becoming a real issue, queening with check, and so Mr. McShane resigns. So this was the big game, a big win considering that he was playing the black pieces, and one that pretty much secured the London Chess Classic for Vladimir Kramnik. And just thought we'd show you that real quick. I thought it was instructive to see how simple he made it look. And though it was kind of tricky, I think that he had equalized early and developed into this winning position where finally we see the material and the passed pawn just being too much for white to handle. So thanks for watching this video, and hopefully we'll see you around on Chess.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you around on Chess.com.